Yeah, thanks a lot for the introduction, Dave, and welcome everybody here from Switzerland. It's great to be here, and yeah, too bad that the PDAC couldn't take place this year or last year, but I hope you got through this pandemic somewhat stronger and healthier, maybe even. So, I mean, the lockdowns were hard. My wife was also at home all the time, so you can see she even decorated my walls here very beautifully. So it had some good impacts as well. So yeah, everybody, I'm just gonna have a short presentation about myself and the companies that I cover. I'm just gonna run you through the website. If you could make me a co-host so I can share my screen.
Yeah, should be good to go.
All right. Yeah, that's my website, the rockstoneresearch.com. We have the website in German and in English. You can see here the buttons up here. This is the English version of the website. And I do all the company reports. I do most of them, I do them in German and in English. So that's why the website is separated into two languages. The content is slightly different, except of the company reports here in the beginning. We have for each language we have a markets and commodities section where I just put external articles or interviews from the companies about the commodity markets or the technology markets that the companies are in. We also have a general geology and exploration section where just some basic articles externally, mostly they are presented here. For example, we have one contributor, it's John Barry from Ireland, and he's a geologist. And from time to time, he writes articles, for example, also on gold, and they're really a bit different from all the articles that we know in the industry. So it's good to have him here and to also have some other content. And then in the news section, I always put some external articles on the companies that I can find in the internet. As you can see here, most of these articles right now in this section, they're mostly from Zinc 8. The company has been in the media quite extensively over the last couple of months and weeks, and I've been also following this company very closely. And yeah, for example, here I also put something on Zambezi. It's a new company. It's a private, and I'm actually right now working on a first report on the company. And yeah, I've been doing this report already since not every day, but maybe already like 2 weeks from now. And it's still going to take me a little bit of time, maybe a couple of days. And yeah, it's a new market. I've never looked into this market. It's the outdoor recreation market. It's pretty big. And I was also very much surprised how big this market actually is. It's bigger than mining. The consumer spending alone in the United States is similar to the global revenues by the top 40 gold companies. So it's a very, very big market. And yeah, Zambezi is looking to step into this huge market with a unique board. And the unique thing about it is that it's actually a board for everybody. And it's for the young, it's for the old, it's for the skilled, the athletics, but it's also for the unskilled people who just want to have fun on any kinds of waters. So yeah, take a look at my next report from on Zambezi. It's still private, but Zimto is really working hard with the company to go public. And yeah, I also invested into this company already. Um, One of the latest articles I did was actually on Zimto. A couple of weeks ago, they launched a new website section, but it's also a change of policy where they were inspired like from long-term shareholders like Helmut from Germany. And Helmut actually he's running a website in Germany which is called Zikako Info, and there he follows all the news and all the what's happening around the current Zimto holdings. So he was one of the people who was very happy to see this new feature. because he has been demanding something like that since quite some time. So I briefly take you to this page, show you around, because actually the companies that I follow with Rockstone, they are Zim2 Holdings, and when you see my disclaimer actually on each of the reports, you can see that in most of the companies I also invested my own private money, and yeah, I'm pretty much convinced by a lot of those companies they have in the portfolio, and you can see that the portfolio value has been increasing strongly over the last couple of months, and along with the commodities bull market, the gold correction and the general correction right now since a couple of weeks, we can all, of course, also see in the portfolio, but it's not as strong as you can see in individual stocks that have corrected, of course, because Zim2 has it's a portfolio of total more than 30 companies, which you can see here in this section with all the companies listed. And it shows you the number of shares that the Zim2 holds in its portfolio, current share price, and the implied market value at current prices. So let me take you to the top 6 holdings here. They break up very nicely. So you can see that Zim2 holds a very large position in zinc energy, and also in commerce with 6.8 and 6.3 million shares. And both of these positions, they make up about 55% of the total portfolio from Zim2. So 50%, yeah, that's a lot, but I think it's well chosen, because both companies, they are in the green wave where they are active, and the stock prices, they have also gained because you can see these environmental and climate technologies on the rise right now with the electrification of the cars and everything. So Zinc 8 with its energy storage solutions, with its batteries, it's a good wager on this green wave trend that is happening around the globe right now. But also commerce with its rare earth deposit in Quebec, and it's actually one of the largest rare earth deposits in the world. And also fluorspar, where another company, it's called Ares Strategic Mining, they're looking to become a primary fluorspar miner in the United States. And yeah, I think it's a great bet on those kinds of markets. Core assets, also big position with 8 million shares. They're into copper, but it's also into gold, silver. They have a very interesting property at the northern extent of the Golden Triangle in BC. So yeah, Saville Resources, of course, also is the neighbor from commerce. So it even adds up another 6% to this portfolio. Oh yeah, then of course it's listing the private companies that they have a big position in. Right now, Zambezi, they have 11.8 million shares already, and it's a private company. Eagle Bay, they're also looking to do a project in BC in the rare earth space. And both companies, they are somewhat in advanced stages of in the process of going public. Also, you can see all the warrants that Zim2 holds from these companies, and this table shows you all the warrants which are currently in the money. So Zim2 could exercise those warrants anytime, and then these number of warrants would add to the number of shares in the portfolio. So Zim2 could then even increase the holdings numbers of shares even more. So right now, Ares has an implied market value if they exercise, and if they were sold, then at these prices, then it would have 250. All of those which are listed here, it has 1.1 million Canadian dollars. So the total market value right now of this portfolio with all the public companies, 11.5 plus then maybe another 1.1 is almost 13 million Canadian dollars. And yeah, the Zim2 stock right now is, I believe, at 3 or 4 million Canadian dollars. And yeah, it's trading at a huge discount to this portfolio value. But we could have seen in the last couple of weeks that with those increases in those portfolio holdings, also the ZIM2 stock somewhat appreciated. Yeah, one of the companies also I follow closely is Commerce Resources. Here's an article from Argus Research, and they have been seeing a supply gap coming up in the next years, where demand is projected to be much higher than current supply and also expected future supply. So Argus analysis points to the direction that much more projects are needed to meet this long-term demand. And Commerce had very good news over the last couple of months. I believe they closed a financing or several financings over the last couple of months, and I think it totaled somewhere about 5 million Canadian dollars. So with this cash in the bank, they are really well positioned right now to bring this project, this ashram project in Quebec, towards the end of the pre-feasibility study. And as you can see here in the news section, already in December, they delivered a fluorspar acid spar sample to a third-party processor. And also very recently, they shipped a rare earth concentrate also to a processor, and this was really a big step to get those samples ready and to send it to those companies. And they are typically large end users or refineries, and with the samples in the hand of these companies, they can very much see how much the costs are to extract these metals which are in this concentrate, and then immediately they can see how big their margin is with the current sales prices and market prices of these metals. So it's a really important step, and that's what was actually missing for those companies. They requested those samples, and now they have it. So I'm really excited to see the result and what they are going to answer. So here we can see the ETF from FunEck. It's a rare earth strategic metals ETF, and you can see that over the last year it appreciated very strongly from about 24 points or dollars to over $90. So that's a fourfold increase within 1 year. And for Commerce, the Commerce stock also performed very nicely. You can see it here within 1 year. It started from 10 cents to almost 50 cents. Now it's at 45 cents. And yeah, it very much looks similar, at least to this ETF, this market ETF, whereas the Commerce stock is up 8.4% today, and the ETF is up 6% today. So it's a big day for rare earths apparently today. And Commerce is also doing very nicely. Yeah, another way how I look at the markets, just when I'm working on, when I have my computer open, I created this page on the Rockstone website where I just put some free charts from around the internet. And these are live charts. You just have to refresh them and then they update. And here you can see the US dollar index. It's actually down 0.2% today. Here's the weekly. It was up quite significantly since early March. And that was actually the main reason why we saw this correction in the gold price. It's because the US dollar index, it appreciated. And yeah, the US dollar index is just one of the factors which drives the gold price. But right now it is the most important driver. So it's always good to have a look at the US dollar. Once the gold price and other commodities, once they decouple from the US dollar, it's a very strong sign into the market. It happened before. And when this happens, you can be sure that the bull market is in full swing. And yeah, that's good to watch as well. So I have here all the commodities, all the precious metals, palladium, silver, but also like copper and all this kind of commodities. Then also I have stock charts where I can just, instead of searching each company and then opening up a new tabs, etc., I just have here an overview of all the companies in my portfolio and which are somewhat important to this website. So here we can see Aries in Canada, but below also in Frankfurt, in Stuttgart, and how the volume has been over the last years and days. Commerce Resources trades on a lot of stock exchanges in Germany, Berlin, Düsseldorf. Core Assets currently only in Frankfurt, but that's how a little bit I follow these companies here. So yeah, shortly about a few companies that I'm following lately. Emerita, they had a strategic investment by Eric Sprott a couple of weeks ago, where he invested $3 million into the company, and I believe he even became or I believe his position is now a little bit over 10%. So the company is having some very large zinc projects in Spain. One of those projects is in northern Spain, but the one which is catching some media attention right now is actually a project which is not in the portfolio right now of the company, but it has great chances of acquiring this project. And it's in southern Spain. It was a former producing zinc mine, pretty big one. And yeah, the beauty of this is that if Emerita is able to get this project, the acquisitions costs are quite low, I would say, because it's from a public tender that the company entered a couple of years ago. But then in Spain, there were some criminal investigations into this tender process. So the company now is hopeful that it will get awarded the project by the courts pretty soon. And here I put a little bit background about the project, that it has been mined only for a very short time with an open pit, until there was a severe tailings failure in Spain at this project, and it was quite bad. It destroyed the entire environment here in the local area, and because it was flowing into a river. So the company that was operating this project back then was Boliden from Sweden, and after this happened, they left the country, and the government took over this project. They cleaned up everything, and yeah, and then they started to do a new public tender to the local populations. There's a lot of unemployment, so they were looking to uh, 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 revive the project and put it back into production. Yeah, core assets, they're, as I already mentioned, they're into northern BC at the Golden Triangle, the northern extent of it. They're looking to redefine the triangle because they have a really interesting project about porphyry, but also a CRD project, which is our carbonate replacement deposit, and they're typically very high grade at the surface, and also pretty large. So copper is also doing very nicely over the last couple of weeks. It has been corrected, but I believe the price recently broke out. As you can see here, there was a very strong move, and yeah, once this new trend line is supportive again, I believe the copper bull is starting again. Yeah, another company I'm really covering and looking forward to see how they progress is Aries in Utah. They're having a very high grade primary fluorspar mine, which they want to bring into production very shortly again. Here I did a quite extensive report on the company and also on the market for fluorspar. And yeah, it's a fascinating market. It's a very a dangerous market for the Western world because China dominates it, and fluorspar is used in a lot of industries like medicine as well, but also, of course, aluminium and steel production. But other industries, they have seen how dangerous single suppliers are to them. For example, 80% of all inhalers, they are produced in a single mine in Mexico. And during COVID, of course, the demand for inhalers has increased very substantially because people with respiratory diseases or problems, they have a higher chance of catching COVID. So during this time, they really saw some supply bottlenecks with this Mexican mine. So the United States is also one of the biggest importers of fluorspar from Mexico. So it's all the more welcome to have a mine in the United States. And as it looks right now, it's going to be pretty significant in terms of output that the company can put out there at relatively low capital expenditures for a processing plant. And now they are looking to put one plant in there for I believe for 10 million, but I believe I heard James talking about that for something in the range of $5 million, they just can add another plant and to increase production significantly. Zinc 8, of course, hopefully it's a great company. Have been following since quite some time, and it has been doing very well also from the stock price. And yeah, make sure to follow it. We are expecting it to become a great success for Zimto and its shareholders, of course. Another company is X-Men. They have a presentation very shortly after me, I believe in 1 hour or 1.5 hours from now. And they have a project in BC, or more projects as they've already mentioned. And yeah, all they are waiting right now is the permit for a bulk sampling program and also for the construction of a new decline. So once this permit from the authorities has been issued, they just recently did a deal with a Swiss metals tradings company where they promised them to give them 5 million Canadian or US dollars if they get the permit and when they get the permit. So it's a great company. I'm also following. The stock price hasn't performed too well lately, but I believe it's a great chance that here's a lot of potential to go back into those areas we have seen before. So yeah, I think that's it from my side. Anything else I could mention? If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Or yeah, that's about it from my side.